Welcome to Why We're Fans. I'm Duran, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Gennaro.
In all of our episodes, we cover the past, present, and the future of all your favorite NFL football teams.
We love hearing your stories, talking the NFL draft, and reminiscing about the good old days.
If you like the same, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. And leave a comment below if you want to answer any of our questions.
Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on our latest interviews. And like we always say, win or lose, we're all fans. Enjoy this episode.
And welcome back to another episode of Why We're Fans. It's your hosts, as always, Gennaro and Duran Munez. Duran, how's it going?
Good, man. We're back at it.
Back at it. Took a little bit of hiatus, man. Work, had us grinding, but we're back. We're back doing our passion project, which we love. And today we actually brought one of my faithful fans as well. So we brought back in Steph Sanchez. How's it going today?
Right on. Yeah, feeling good. 49ers aren't doing too bad. So they always got news, there's something to talk about every day with the 49ers. So feeling good. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about today.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you want to go ahead and plug where people can find you, any projects you're working on right now, shout out your podcast. I do tune in every once in a while when I can. So have at it.
Right on. Yeah. So my Twitter and most of my social media is at Stragosaurus, STRAGO Saurus. And our YouTube is the same, Stragosaurus. Our podcast is 49 Carats Podcast. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much like all the main podcasts platforms. And I have a podcast with my co-host, Angie Sunshine. And, we're one of the few like all women podcasts out there. So I feel like we got a unique perspective on the 49ers and pretty much just like to have fun and talk about the team. So yeah, that's about it.
Hell yeah. Shout out Angie.
Yeah. And we'll put all your links below so people can click on through and follow you guys.
Right on. Thank you.
All right. So, Duran, you ready to get it into this?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. And with that crack the can, we want to know, how did you become part of the faithful? Where did it all start?
Man, I mean, I've grown up in the Bay Area. I am the youngest of 4 siblings. I have one brother that I really look up to. And, my family's been a 49ers. They've all been 49ers fans, and especially my brother. He's a huge fan, and he actually wanted to get into like sports broadcasting back in the day, which is, it's kind of funny that he wasn't able to get into it at that time. He went to school for it, but it was a lot harder to get into those spaces back then, right? There wasn't no YouTube or anything like that, and so it's kind of funny that I'm able to do that now with my podcast. But yeah, just through family, pretty much just becoming a fan and watching them watch games and just starting to watch games with them. And it all kind of came together where I got more into it around the Harbaugh era. I mean, of course, when the team is good, it's easy to get more into them, right? But I've been rocking with them ever since, right? Like even there's been some bad times since then. And, I'm still here. We're all still here. So we're faithful for sure.
Yep, there you go. Faithful for a reason.
I like it. How many generations do you guys got going? You got your parents, your grandparents?
I mean, yeah, definitely. My parents moved out here from El Salvador. So my parents were first generation. So I guess second generation here. I think that's how that works. Yeah.
Nice. Is your brother a little bit jealous that you're in the broadcasting now or what?
No, he's not jealous. He's always like, hey, let me get in on an episode.
Did you, growing up in the area, did you ever get a chance to go to any of the training camps or practices or anything like that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, so right before we started, I was talking about how I just recently moved from out of the Bay Area. And so before I moved, like I used to attend the training camps all the time, especially because like my birthday is in August, and I think some of the training camps usually happen between that time and also preseason games. So like I would go to the preseason games for my birthday as well, and obviously go to the regular season games as well. But yeah, definitely not a stranger to Candlestick and Levi's.
I always feel like the training camps are the place where you get the closest to the players. Is there one guy that kind of stands out to you where you got to interact with, or you just saw in person, were pretty amazed with?
Yeah, I think the closest interaction that I got, oh my God. Well, okay, there's a couple. So Richard Sherman, I got him to sign a hat that I had. And he was cool, man. Like he was just after practice, he was just signing a bunch of people's, memorabilia or, whatever they had. I've seen Jimmy up close. I didn't have anything for him to sign. I felt kind of stupid. Like
Ward or Garoppolo?
Garoppolo.
Gotcha.
So it was hella funny because he like walks up and I don't have anything to sign. So I'm just there to see him. Right. And I'm like, hi, Jimmy. Like, I don't know why I was like so shy or something. I don't know. He's very handsome in person. Like, obviously I'm a lesbian, but he's very handsome, like even more so in person than in pictures. So I was just a little starstruck and he just like looked at me like, what the hell? I have a video of that interaction. It's hilarious, but also Dante Johnson, actually. So at that same practice where I saw Richard Sherman,
the Barnacle,
I saw Dante Johnson, and like there was one fan who wanted Juszczyk's signature or autograph, and Juszczyk had already gone to the locker rooms, and like so they get Dante Johnson's autograph, and they ask him like, oh, like can you ask Juszczyk to come back out? And he actually does it. Like he really ran all the way to the locker room, which is, quite a run. Like it's not close. And he comes back and Juice does come out. And so I just thought that was really cool. The fact that he, went that far. It wasn't even for his autograph, right? Like it was for someone else. So I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Why he stays with the team for so long.
Yeah, he must have a great personality, right?
Who's the biggest fan in the family? Is it you or your brother? Or it could be someone else.
Ooh. I mean, our fandom is different. Like, I'll just say that. Like, I feel like we're both equally, faithful, but we just show it in different ways. He's a little more like negative than I am sometimes, when things aren't perfect, which a lot of fans are like that, right? So It's not,
I'm like that.
Right. Like sometimes, you just get pissed off at the team, which I do, but I always try to like be a little more optimistic or see the bright side in things or, things like that. So he's a little more negative, and I've shared pictures of his like man cave before. He has so much 49ers memorabilia. Like it's crazy. It's all over the walls. He's gotten like so many autographs from 49ers and other sports as well. But so in that aspect, like he's got all the gear. Yeah. I got, I don't have as much gear. I'm not as much into that, but I don't know. I feel like we're kind of kind of same, just show it differently.
Well, being that you have some memorabilia, is there one piece of memorabilia that you hold passion to your heart that's like the holy grail?
Damn. No, I mean, I really don't have that much memorabilia. I'm just not that kind of like person that has like, I've started to collect like old vintage 49ers t-shirts. So I've got a good collection going and I'm really happy with that right now. I mean, I had the Sherman autograph on a hat. That one I did a giveaway for, so like I sent that out, but I mean that probably was the coolest memorabilia I had.
Got it. Do you remember your first jersey? Niners jersey?
I think it was either Crabtree or Gore, and my brother got it for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're both good players. I mean,
I'm gonna just
a little bit.
I'm gonna just say it was Gore, right? Because that's probably the. I should just say it was Gore.
That's a good one.
The more legendary one of the two, for sure.
Yeah. He's getting ready to box here in December, so
I saw that. No. That's nuts, man.
Oh no.
We'll see. I mean, he usually did boxing in his off season in Miami, and I remember him doing it in a sauna suit. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes when he's dedicated pro now. So we'll see.
Right. If he boxes anywhere near how he runs, and he'll be good, I'm sure.
A tank.
You're
He'll
right.
be one of those tough guys. He'll take a whole bunch of punch. He'll be Homer Simpson, and then finally land one.
My last question for this section is, what's your game day setup like? Do you live tweet? Do you watch it alone? Do you go out to bars, watch it with the best friend?
Man, it really depends. So sometimes I'll go to the bar. Out here in Colorado, it's a little harder to watch the games because they don't always have the game on TV, which I find very frustrating.
Yep.
I got Red Zone, but it's not the same to just watch some plays, right?
Not at all.
But if I could, I like watching at home. I like watching by myself. I do like to tweet a lot during games, not every single play, but it's just fun to see everyone's reaction live as the game is happening.
Absolutely.
I'll do the bar scene every once in a while, but yeah, I definitely prefer to be home by myself.
Yep. Football's an at-home sport, especially if you got a nice TV.
Hell yeah. Do you have any, when it comes game day, do you have any superstitions? I mean, we had a couple of people on here that they had to have their bobblehead set up in a certain way or wear a certain swag or whatnot. Do you have any kind of superstitions you got there?
No, I'm not very superstitious, but I don't have my own ritual, but I will say that when Shanahan wore, his hat, the red one, his trucker hats, I believe that had some juice in them or some magic, things just happened when he had that hat on. So yeah, I would say that hat definitely had some powers. Also Candlestick, Candlestick had this magic to it, man. I don't know how to explain it. So if I'm superstitious about anything, it might be some of those things.
Yeah, it broke my heart when they left Candlestick and went into Levi Stadium now with all the problems that went building that and the deaths and whatnot. I think it's a little cursed. So maybe they need to, do some Ted Lasso type of stuff up there, start burning stuff, have a bonfire.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember your first Niners game you went to live?
I think the first game was the 49ers played the Seahawks. So it was a divisional game. The Seahawks weren't shit then. I think it was Sherman's rookie year.
Okay.
So he wasn't Sherman yet, right?
Yeah.
I remember he was on special teams duty, and I think that was a game. It was a home opener, I'm pretty sure. It was the one where Ted Ginn scored 2 touchdowns.
A punt and
on
a kick return, right?
punt return. Yeah, yep. So that was my first game.
Yeah, that was wasn't that one where Frank Gore had a slide inbounds to keep the clock running, right? Was that the same game?
Wait, he didn't want to score?
No, well, no. He was on a breakaway, and there was 2 minutes left, and instead of going all the way, he just slid inbounds.
Smart man.
Yep. I mean, it's a wily vet right there.
He's a pro, man.
Yep. We saw Eckler attempt that this year. He didn't want to score, but I was it the Bears? Someone pulled him into the end zone so that they had a chance to come back. Yep.
I saw that one.
Yep. Anything else for how it all started, G?
No, not how it all started.
Well, we're going to move on a little bit. Our next section, we want to guess who your favorite 49ers player of all time is. G, you want to start with this one?
Oh, man. I was going to say Dante Johnson, but maybe not. Let me see here.
You guys are guessing my favorite?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This might be easy because to me, I have a couple that are I would count as correct if you said either one. There's okay.
We've had everything from the number one guy to the long snapper. So one guy said the long snapper.
Hey, people have their reasons.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm gonna go with Navarro Bowman.
I'll go with Patrick Willis. He's my favorite Niner.
Yeah, Patrick Willis is definitely one of my favorite. Bowman, he's a great player, but I would have wished, that he played a little longer and, he might have been he might have deserved one of my favorites,
Yep. Well, we all know Patrick Willis, 8 years with the Niners, 7 Pro Bowls, 5-time All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he was another guy where I wish he would have played a little bit longer. Injuries ended up catching up to him, but I'm a Cowboys fan, and he's my favorite Niner of all time. I loved watching him play.
Yeah, he is legendary, man. Like he just he set the tone, like more than I've seen, a lot of players be able to do that. And just, it wasn't just the defense. Like he was just, you can tell he was just a big influence to the whole team. Like he would do the pre-game speeches and all that. And I don't know, he just had a very infectious energy. I could just tell.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
He should be.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, guys like we know Luke Kuechly ended it a little early. Zach Thomas, he's not in there, but I have him above both of those guys. I mean,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So those guys are in the conversation for it. I think definitely Patrick Willis should be in there.
For sure.
Is there one like classic play or anything that play or a game that stands out for Patrick Willis?
Damn. No, I mean, I was thinking of I'm pretty sure it was Bowman who had the pick at the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. The one I remember of Patrick Willis is the hit on Brad Smith.
Oh,
I think it was Bowman or Patrick Willis's rookie year, maybe. Was it?
I don't think it was his rookie year. I think it was like his third or fourth year.
But he absolutely demolished him.
Yeah.
He demolished a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. You did not want to be running towards that guy. That's for sure.
One of his rookie moments that I loved for sure was him chasing down, I think it was UTEC was his name, from the Cardinals. He's chasing him down. He was all the way on the other side of the field. This is rookie year. Chased him down from behind and straight, tackled him. And I think they referenced it a little bit when DK caught up with Buddha. And for a linebacker to do that, that's way different than an athletic freak like DK.
Yep.
So seeing Patrick Willis did it, and I just remember like, damn, this rookie is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
There's tons in college that I saw, but when he played for the Niners, I'm like, whew, boy.
Yeah, I think a guy like Patrick Willis kind of bridged the gap between old school linebackers like Ray Lewis used to be out there, and then it went to Patrick Willis, and then now you see these new linebackers, Warner. It's like now they're
way
all
more athletic.
Exactly, way more athletic. And I feel like Patrick Willis was right at the beginning of that, where he was a really athletic guy. But how much they play the pass now, it's just Ray Lewis would definitely be struggling nowadays.
So do you guys think that Patrick Willis can play in today's game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he could have played way longer than he did. So like that's what made it so sad that, he retired when he did, because I feel like he had so many years left in him.
Exactly.
I think a lot of it had to do with all that turnover, because I think that year was
for sure.
tough. That offseason was a tough offseason to be a Niner fan, because tired, that was, and then you got the guy who owned us, Sabaros, Tom Sula, coming by here, and it's like, oh god,
it was tough, man.
Definitely was, for sure.
Yeah. Willis's combine 40 was a 4.51. That's fast for a guy that weighed in at 242.
Yeah,
and I heard he tripped.
He'd still be out there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is there a player that was maybe one of your favorites, or just a 49ers player that you feel like deserves a little bit more credit that maybe people forgot about? I know we mentioned Navarro Bowman.
Yeah. I mean, I think within 49ers fandom, a lot of players do get some love, but from like a national standpoint, I would say, I wish I had a better answer. I mean, I would say Justin Smith. I mean, I feel like, he was,
that's one of my favorite.
He was definitely considered like really good, right? Nationally, but no, he was more than just good, right? Like to me, he was.
I love me Justin Smith. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
I think that's
I love
a great
that
answer
so much, because we all saw what happened to Alden Smith when Justin Smith wasn't there. Like he didn't get,
Yep.
his deserved credit. And like when you see it, when you watch back the all 22s back in the day, you can see him like grab 2 or 3 guys and start driving them so somebody else can have an open lane in, whether there was Navarro blitzing, which we didn't do a whole bunch with Fangio, or you have Alden Smith coming in from behind him, and I loved it. And his straight old school like Budweiser
Yeah,
tattoo
dude, that
was
guy.
great. And then his sack dance celebration was just him raising his arm, and that he was so big he could lift the house.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I loved it. I loved it so
Yeah,
much.
we're talking about Gore being a tank. That man was a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he made it look easy.
He was built for it.
Yep.
And one interview that I love that he did is like I don't know if it was on NBC Sports or was it on NFL Today, but they were talking to him about stats. He goes, "Oh, I don't care about stats." He's like, "Did we win the game?" He goes, "Yeah, we won the game. That's all that matters. Stats, that's a loser's game. We want to win." And it kind of made me
best
think
kind of player.
Exactly. It made me think of football in a different way. I was like, dude, he's absolutely right. Like you can have all the stats in the world. You can have like the passing record and whatnot. I mean, look at Jameis Winston. I mean, he had 30 touchdowns, but he also had 30 picks. Like,
yep.
Come on. Like, yeah, he led the league in touchdowns. Great. But he's on a losing team. It doesn't do anything. Right. Like the offense wasn't that great anyway. So
yeah.
I wrote down Justin Smith for our next Niners interview because that's a great answer. That's a guy that people might forget about here in the next couple of years that we need to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else for players, G?
Yeah. There's a couple of Niners that obviously we're on the Niners that I absolutely hated. Do you have any that you can list off from the top of your head?
Dude. Yeah. So, okay. I kind of hate kickers. I'm one of those kickers don't matter kind of people. I'm sorry.
You're drinking that Aponte Kool-Aid.
So kind of kickers all in general, and just I think a lot of 49er fans would say this, Kyle Williams.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. What like we're still not over that.
Oh hell no.
We're still not over that. I think because he was a decent player, and he's probably a better returner than we have on the team now, to be honest. But I don't know. That was just unforgivable what he did. And I'll say this though, like there was a lot of anger towards him and like death threats and things like that, and that's never cool. So I don't condone any of that. But yeah. I was just saying he would probably be my player. I'd never take it that far though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my answer to that's Crabtree, but it goes all the way back to Texas stuff.
Yeah, I mean, me and Duran, we're both Texas fans, and man, it's funny because we might take a Longhorn tomorrow in Colt McCoy, which is, but man, when he caught that ball and broke that tackle to score and break that
right up the sideline.
Yeah, right on the sideline. Who's his quarterback? Graham Harrell. Like, oh
yeah. Texas Tech got us that year.
So you didn't even like him when he was a 49er. He was definitely overrated.
No. Yeah,
no,
I as a 49er, he was overrated.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, like, I think me and my brother have this discussion about like players who join your team, like when it comes to basketball and whatnot. Like I remember we're both Laker fans, me and my brother. He hated Matt Barnes. And when Matt Barnes was on the Lakers, he loved Matt Barnes. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's hard. Like you can respect his game all you want. Like I respected Sherman a whole bunch in Seattle. Like, man, dude, this guy's a beast. This guy's a dog. Like,
yeah,
he's definitely a problem. So when he came with the Niners, I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, I'm glad we got that guy. It's gonna take some warming up. And he wasn't that like arrogant asshole, like fuck Crabtree type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a different man, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see. But when it comes to 49ers that I absolutely hated, I hated Blaine Gabbert so much.
Poor guy. He's just thrown in there.
I hated it because like they said that he was better than Cap and he deserves this, and I was like, come on, dude.
Oh that's
we could talk all day about that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole episode right there.
Well, let's move on a little bit. Next, we want to know who your favorite coach is. I think I know who this is going to be, but
Do you?
I think so.
Guess.
I think it's going to be Shanahan. I think he's kind of
I think it's gonna be Harbaugh.
Harbaugh. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a falling out, so that's why I didn't think it'd be him. But
It was Bulky's fault, not his.
It's Harbaugh, I think.
Harbaugh.
It's Harbaugh. Dude, that whole era was just so good, and it brought so many memories. And I mean, Kyle Shanahan's great, right? But
Mm-hmm.
he has a losing record as a head coach here, so it was just different with Harbaugh, right? And
100%.
they had a falling out, but by no means should he have been fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, both of them. Well, Shanahan's been there 4 years now, but Harbaugh was there for 4 years. He had no losing seasons, 3 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearance. His record was 44-19. And before this season, Shanahan's was 29-35.
Yeah.
So they're both there the same amount of time, but a little bit different results.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, shit just felt different then.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
don't know.
did, right? Like,
I don't know what, like, the who's got it better than us. Like, there's just something about those teams that was just, they were just different. Like,
like
they
when,
were good. Like, defense. Like,
what's the sound you hear when the 49ers make a first down?
the ow.
Harbaugh brought that, and it's still there.
He started that.
I'm like, dude,
I'm surprised. So if he started that, I'm surprised they didn't remove that, because you remember how petty they were when all that shit went down.
Oh, 100%.
They took him out of the. Wasn't he in the museum or something like that? There was something about him in the museum, and they removed
his khakis
that.
might have been in there or something, but they took him
out.
Yeah,
they might have been the khakis, which is pretty funny. But
yeah,
I mean, it was just petty.
It definitely was. I mean, I loved Harbaugh. He gave the most ridiculous answers and everything. Like when he was asked about Alex Smith, he's like, "Oh, that guy's tougher than a $7 steak." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it just little
quotes
like that. Yeah,
he has some quotes.
It hurt my heart to see how he's doing with Michigan. You know, he's not having the best record with Michigan, but when he was with the Niners, he definitely turned, as he said, chicken shit into chicken salad. So I mean, it was great to see, and especially he did it. I think he got hired during the lockout, and then he embraced Alex Smith to run team drills at San Jose State, and they were doing that, and a lot of my friends got to witness it, and they sent me some videos. I'm like, damn, that's pretty sick that they're doing this. So.
Yeah, and then the way he used to hit his quarterback on their pads, pump them up before the game.
Yeah,
I loved that. There's just something about him.
Yeah,
I mean, the handshake.
I loved his energy.
Oh, Jim Schwartz.
Dude,
that
was funny.
Lifts up his shirt.
That was funny.
Yeah, he's a former player, former quarterback. You could tell half the time he wished he was the one out there playing still.
I mean, is it just me, or was it him and Pete Carroll that started this rivalry? Because they had it at USC and Stanford with the old, what's your deal? He goes, I don't have a deal. What's your deal? And
because also the Seahawks didn't start getting good until shortly after Harbaugh, right? It was probably the year or two after that.
Yeah, because they did make playoffs, but on a 7-8 record or something like that.
That's the other thing. The teams have to be good for it to be a rivalry. No one's like, oh, the Texas versus the Jaguars is it's like you have to be winning, and you have to play playoff games, or in your guys' case, division, and those games at the end of the year mean a shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where you were when the Niners were going to the Super Bowl during Harbaugh's era?
Yes, I watched the game. So the game before the NFC Championship was against the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken, and I went to watch it at it was weird. It was like a hotel,
bar.
No, it wasn't even like the bar. It was like in the
conference rooms.
It was like a ballroom. It was like in a ballroom, but it was a party.
Yeah.
So
there's a bunch of fans there. So yeah, so I remember that. And then for the Super Bowl, I remember I watched that at Slim's. They had RIP Slim's.
Oh my
The-
God, yeah.
They had a Super Bowl party there, so I watched the game there. Heartbreaking loss, man.
Yeah.
Definitely
I
was.
still remember that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those
It was
don't go
crazy.
away.
Yeah, unfortunately. Those are the
It-
ones that stick with you.
It might take a win to kind of clear the palate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you have a least favorite 49ers coach?
Dude, this is hard because, like, okay, so Tom Sula obviously
Yeah.
sucked, but like, I loved that guy. I loved him. Also, Mike Singletary sucked, but like, I
Mhm.
loved him too. Like, he had like the whole presser
Can't do
after the
it.
game with
do
Vernon,
it.
and dude, that was,
Yeah.
he was a character too. I don't know, maybe so since I started watching, maybe Mike Nolan. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only one. Like that's the only.
It's like, get out of here with the Reebok suit there, guy. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You can't compare to your dad.
Jim Tom Sula and Singletary. Those are real football guys, though. They're kind of
Yeah,
like
so
yeah.
I liked them. They just
Yeah.
weren't good head coaches.
I think
Also, Tom
Singletary
Sula.
has-
Tom Sula had a terrible team.
Mhm.
You
That
know.
was his-
And
that
he
Oh,
was-
you
took
know what? I
over
forgot
halfway.
You know what? I forgot about Chip Kelly. I would say him.
Yeah.
I'd say Chip Kelly actually, because he was so overhyped. Like, do you remember how excited we were to have him as a
Oh, yeah.
coach? And to be honest, like, he inherited a good team. They weren't
Mhm.
bad. They weren't bad. He had Kaepernick, and like, I don't know, that was a weird time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
I mean-
coming fresh from the championship with Oregon and Mariota. But yeah, it was hyped, and I think the players hated him. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was, but they were
Yeah.
doing all types of like hydration testing, monitoring your sleep. They would do all types of stuff like that. Or the players are like, all right, we're not college kids. You don't need to
Yeah.
yell
Right,
at us for
yeah.
getting 6 hours of sleep last night when we're 20-year-old millionaires. It's
Yeah.
That's
little conflict.
That's the thing. That's the thing with like college coaches that go into the NFL. I feel like I feel is a theme with
Mhm.
them, right? Like, they kind of treat their players like they did the college players. And as much success that Harbaugh had, I do remember there were reports that, at least during the fallout, and this could be fake, right? Because there was a lot of leaks, and I feel like York and Bulky and Harbaugh were talking through the media, and it was just like you just kept hearing all different stories. But I remember hearing that like Harbaugh treated players, kind of like students or like kids in a way. Yeah, that they didn't like that.
I think
well,
it
maybe
was,
he's in the right spot.
I think it was Alex Boone, that was like, did an interview, said like, dude, it was tough playing for Harbaugh. Like, it was tough. But like, when you talk to guys like Whitner and Staley, they're like, dude, I love playing for Harbaugh when we would go at it and everything. And maybe it's the new rules, you know what I mean? Maybe it's the new rules that NFL has where you can't really hit and everything. But I mean, even in Harbaugh's era, you didn't have much injuries. And then as soon as it changed over, Chip Kelly, I feel like we were pledged with injuries. And that's when it all started.
That's when it all started. Like, has it been better since?
No.
Really.
No, definitely not.
Yep. Anything else, Chief, for coaches?
No, nothing on coaches. I can go all day about coaches.
All right, let's move on a little bit. Next, we want to know your favorite or your best memory being a Niners fan. I don't know if you remember any of the Super Bowls
Most
from the
memorable
90s or playoff games.
Kaepernick, man.
Mhm.
Kaepernick's playoff runs were otherworldly to me. And like the fact that, like, I'm 30, right? But like when I started becoming a fan of the team, like they were still not good at that point. I hadn't seen what a successful like football team looked like. And I hadn't seen good quarterback play like that on the 49ers. Before Kaepernick, right? Because I didn't grow up watching Montana.
Or young.
I remember watching, or I remember my dad or my brother watching Steve Young, but like I was too young at that point to like be into it, right? So I wouldn't say I watched him. But Kaepernick to me was just, he was otherworldly and just very good. I have very fond memories of that era. And
Yeah, that playoff run he did, the divisional game versus the Packers. He had 263 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, 181 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And that game,
that's unheard of, man. Like,
yep.
That's just crazy.
And without that, wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl to play the Ravens that year. But that he was on a tear that year for sure.
Yeah, and as good as he was, like he still had criticism. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson now, right? Like they're so good, but like they still receive all this criticism, and a lot of people don't like them. He was just one of those guys where, like, as good as he was, like he still received a lot of criticism, even before like all the anthem stuff and however you feel about that. Like, you know, he was still talked about in a bad way on the national, you know, in national media. So
yeah, no quarterback's perfect. And even Lamar, I wasn't too impressed with his arm coming out, but each year he gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
And this year I feel like his arm has looked the best it's ever had.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember when him and Ricardo Lockett, Kaepernick Ricardo Lockett got in trouble on Miami with that whole like messing around with the girl charge. And it turns out that they just went up to their rooms and the girl was trying to follow and they turned her down. It's all on camera. They try to dig into it. And he's like, nah, nothing happened. Like, it's all on camera. Like, nothing happened. So I definitely get your criticism on Kaepernick. But when it comes to him, one of my most memorable moments was the duel that they had with Carolina, because I know that him and Cam Newton were really, really close. And when he scored that touchdown and he did the Superman and then he buttoned it back up and did his thing, I was like, oh man, like, okay, I like this. You know, I like this a lot.
Right.
I mean, he was definitely one of my favorite 49 quarterbacks.
Nice. Do you remember the catch 2? Probably not. The catch 3, TO.
The catch 2 was Owens.
Yep. Catch 3.
I didn't
Vernon
watch
Davis.
Like I didn't watch that game. It was you know, I was too young, but 3, of course, like that was so memorable. And that was when Alex Smith was on his own tear, you know, like that was a good year too. Good times. That game was really good too. Like went back and forth.
It was definitely a slug match. And then Justin Smith again, man, he pushes his tackle back into Drew Brees, jumps over, grabs Drew Brees.
Yep, dude. Falls back. That play was so memorable as well. Like, and that was a frustrating time playing the Saints because for some reason there would always be some like dumb flag that the defense would get called on, and
Ahmad Brooks.
Yeah, so I remember those times as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that was man. Yeah, that's definitely a hard time.
Gee, you got any other favorite memories? I know we mentioned the pick at the stick a little bit earlier, picking off Matt Ryan to win the game.
Do you remember the cornerback who disrupted Roddy White's catch?
I don't know.
In that game?
Yeah. I have it in my notes.
I know.
Because I watched it. Tremaine Brock tipped the ball. Navarro Bowman, 89-yard touchdown.
I think he was undrafted free agent, and that's just another find. I mean, it just felt like...
Yeah, he was good.
I mean, we can go on for days about like our draft picks recently, but like our draft picks back then, I feel like every round hit and our undrafted free agents like made the team and made the team better. And to see how it is now, it just kind of, it's whatever. But back then, like you were saying earlier, it just hit different. And I just feel like everyone contributed in every single way. And Tremaine Brock.
Sure. Every good team has to have those young guys coming through. I mean, look at the Buccaneers last year, just how they had Winfield and their offensive line, their tackle. I forget his name, but both of them playing huge roles, playing every game, making big plays. And yeah, that's what it takes. Bring in some veterans and then let the young guys ball out.
The young guys eat.
Yep.
Well, we know that with the good come the bad. Do you have a worse memory being a Niners fan? I mean, got some Super Bowl losses in there. It could be a player injury or somebody leaving the team.
Yeah, I mean, the Bowman injury is definitely
which one?
think he tore his ACL.
Yep.
In the Seahawks game.
Which time?
Right?
He did that a couple times too.
Yeah.
And that was a time that people were throwing popcorn at him.
Oh,
that was just heartbreaking.
Yeah,
That was so
that's
heartbreaking.
ridiculous. Yeah.
that was our ball, by the way.
Well,
That was our ball. Because remember how he stripped the ball from Marshawn and fell backwards, and everyone jumped on him, and they said that they stopped it for forward progress. Navarre Bowman stripped it beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like because we ended up losing that game, if I recall, and I don't know. He's just one of those players like you wonder if he was there, if it would have, would we have won that game? And just obviously, it had way more implications than just that one game. But yeah, that was definitely a tough one. Also, when Willis retired, dude, just that, like you were saying, we were talking about that one stretch where it was just bad news after bad news.
Yeah.
Chris Borland,
and there was like
retired.
Borland, yeah, there was like multiple retirements that offseason, and like it was funny because Willis retired, and then we're like, okay, like at least we have Borland, because Borland was like balling, like he was good. You're like thinking, okay, like he could fill the shoes a bit, like we're good, and then he ends up retiring. You're like, what the hell, man? Like what is going on? Yeah, that was a tough time, and obviously that whole Harbaugh fallout was a really tough time to just be a fan. And then I'll say the Kyle Williams, which we discussed, that was a tough one, just knowing like I felt pretty good that like if the 49ers won that game, they would have won the Super Bowl. I think that's what makes that one harder. Like I'm more upset about that one than the Super Bowl loss against the Ravens.
Oh, wow.
I know it sounds stupid, but that was.
It's because I think the Giants go on to win the Super Bowl, and you see that you see you see the Niners in that spot, and you're like, damn it, they could have did something.
They could have. I mean, they were the better team.
Definitely were.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, we're forget it. We talked about Kyle Williams.
It's like, we can.
Yeah,
we beating a dead horse.
We do got another Sun Devil back there at punt returner. It looks like they're trusting more.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So it's good to see.
I saw that last week. Yeah. I just wanted to. I have a note here of after that Harbaugh, after he left, Patrick Willis, Justin Smith, Borland, and Anthony Davis all retired. Frank Gore, Crabtree, Mike Upati left. Alden Smith got off the field troubles. It's like those guys were all starters.
And that happened all in one off season.
Yeah, all in one off season. It just did not stop.
That was just it was.
It's like the Raiders this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned the Niners, the Super Bowl loss to the Ravens. Did that one hurt more, or did the Kansas City Chiefs loss hurt more?
It's a good question.
That is a real good question.
I think the Ravens loss hurt a little bit. Well, fuck. Like, I mean,
pick your poison.
Because I'm thinking of like different things. Okay. I think the Ravens loss hurt a little bit more. And I'll tell you why. Because first, the Chiefs that year, they were by far like seen as one of the best teams. And the 49ers were too, but like a lot of people always side with like offense. Oh, like they're this high scoring machine, like nothing can stop them. So like in my head, I was already prepared for like whatever, right? The Ravens loss, however, like, people talked about, the 49ers in their franchise had never lost in a Super Bowl before. They're 5-0. And like, that's such a dumb stat, right? Because it's a different team every time. Like, it's just, it's dumb. But, again, I never seen my team go to the Super Bowl before. So hearing stats like that and seeing how good they were at the time, you're like, yeah, like they're going to win this. Like they got this. And it was Joe Flacco. Like, come on. I know the Ravens defense was good, but it was Joe fucking Flacco. And they started off so bad. And just the fact that they were able to come back, like they were so close to pulling that off.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it, it all came down to, that one red zone, stand,
Yep.
like the fade or whatever.
Yep. Kaepernick to Crabtree 3 consecutive times.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
I don't know. So I think that one hurt because it felt like we were so close. And I know the Chiefs game, like it felt like we were close too, because we were up most of the game. But it was different because in my head, I was like, this is a hard team to beat from the get-go. Like I already had that mindset a bit. So
yeah.
Well, I'm curious to think what you guys think though, what you guys would say.
Gee, you can answer that. I thought she would answer Kansas City. I mean, it's the newest one, the most latest Super Bowl, and just the lead. I know you can't really get comfortable with the lead versus Kansas City, but they're the big play after big play. What was it in the fourth quarter? Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins. Just
to me. So when in the Ravens won, we're down and everyone lost hope. And I was like, man, I remember watching it at my buddy's house, and we had I was like, you know what? I need to switch scenes. So I drove to another friend's house, the party, and we started coming back. I was like, okay, we're coming back. We ended up losing, but I was like, dang, we were down by so much. I kind of expected that as much as it hurt. But the KC one, our defense was better. And Nick Bosa was just terrorizing any tackle he was going against. Kittle that was an offensive PI. And I just feel like that team was so much better. We had Buck and, Armstead, and everybody was just on a different level there. And I feel like we're winning. I feel like we beat them to the punch every single time. And it's just like, good boxers. Sometimes when you're beating everybody good, in the first few rounds and you gas out, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not like we gassed out. I feel like we took our foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like we just got really dull. We got really boring. I mean, I can go on for days about the holding penalties and multiple different scenarios. And I think that's why that one hurt the most, is that we're up. It was poor officiating. It was poor play calling. It's like, what are you doing? It's just,
right.
I think the case
had it in your hands.
Yeah. Exactly. You said it best right there. Yeah, we had it in our hands, and they are who they thought we were, and we let them off the hook. I can go on.
Well, I know those were some brutal times, but you guys ready to move on? Enough about the bad stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to move on to future expectations. The first thing that I just wanted to ask is which rookie you've been most impressed with for the Niners this year, because I have a guy in mind that I've been seeing stand out to me.
I'll say 2 if I'm allowed to say 2.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna say Elijah Mitchell. I mean, I think from after the draft, like we were all expecting Trey Sherman to be the guy behind Moser, and I don't know. He just kind of, I guess, fell flat. I don't know what happened there, but Mitchell has clearly been the better guy, and every week he's played, he's looked better. The other player, and he's starting to get a little more time due to injury, is Talanoa Hufanga.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
I liked that pick a lot. Just where they got him, I feel like it was a good value pick, and I love players that aren't considered the best, like physically, or their college tape maybe. Well, I mean, his college tape was good, but like he's not seen as
fast
or prototype, or like he had some flaws, but like just the fact that they grind so hard and they study makes them the better player, right? Like I always feel like Jerry Rice was kind of that kind of player. Like he wasn't the best physically, but he outworked everyone. And so like I'm not comparing him to him obviously, but just in the aspect of like the work ethic. For sure. So it's showing up, and I'm really happy for him. So I'd say that guy. Big fan.
he stands out to me. I see him, seems like he's making plays every week. I know due to injury, he is getting more playing time, but that's a guy that I can't believe so many people passed him up. 5th round pick, and he was your guys's 3rd, 5th round pick. So, and the league is made up of mostly undrafted guys. There's more undrafted guys in the NFL than any other round. But I think it just comes down to, like you said, thought Trey Sherman was going to be the guy. Now Elijah Mitchell stepping up. We only get to see the physical aspects, as in combine, game tape, and stuff like that as our research. The mental part is such a huge, huge part of the game that we just don't get to see. And of course, Shanahan and those guys get to see him every day. And yeah, it's probably more than 50% of it. All these guys are athletic and can run, but it's the mental side.
Yeah. I mean, one guy for me stepping up is Jaylen Moore. I mean, when Trent Williams went down, he stepped up, and he was, like you said, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the best, but he's that underdog story that you want to root for. I mean, that's who George Kittle was. I was actually really high on Fred Warner, and Durant can back me on this. And Fred Warner was an underdog, saying like, oh, he doesn't have a true linebacker position. And he showed everybody up. He showed up. He showed everybody why he was worth that draft pick. Yeah. And Jaylen Moore, I felt like he did a great job, filling in for Trent Williams, which is arguably one of the best left tackles in the game, But yeah, I think Jaylen Moore, and I absolutely 100% agree with you on Elijah Mitchell, because that guy's a volume runner, and seeing him run as much as he is, and I mean, he did get banged up here and there, but I mean, he's not supposed to be a workhorse type of guy. He's supposed to be that change of pace type of guy. So I would like to see him, and Raheem Mostert, maybe, split the carries. I mean, I was excited about, Trey Sherman, but I mean, he's obviously in the legendary Kyle Shanahan's doghouse. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I don't know where he's at.
You think Mostert comes back next year?
I would like for him to. I mean, on a cheaper deal. I mean, and one thing you said earlier about the whole death threats about Kyle Williams, I saw that about him getting hurt. I was like, well, he got hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's gonna want money too. We saw.
I hope he doesn't.
I honestly,
think he made a big spiff about it, and then he didn't play to that potential. And so, hope he understands it. I mean, hey, you got hurt again. Like, maybe sign a prove it veterans deal, to help us out, like bonuses maybe. Right. I'm pretty sure Prague can bring him back for, certain.
We'll see. Running backs need to get their money when they can, and especially guys that are injury prone. So I think he's just going to take the biggest bag that's out there for him. I don't blame him either.
Oh, definitely not.
Yep. Anything else, G? I got a couple more.
Yeah, go ahead. Have at it.
I just want to know, I was glad to see D'Amico Ryans get a shot at being a defensive coordinator. I just want to know how you feel about him taking over for Saleh this year and how he's doing so far.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited for him. I mean, I was a little nervous, going from Saleh to anybody else. Just, based on the success that Saleh had with the defense. But the fact that they were able to keep so many of the same players on defense, and also, they hired a lot of support around him as well this offseason for D'Amico. And so I felt encouraged by all that. So, I was excited also hearing just he was going to be more aggressive and do different things. I was excited for. I mean, so far, I think he's doing well. It's been unfortunate that there have been injuries. I mean, on the defensive line, especially, and, we just heard of D Ford going on IR today before this. And
that trade.
So that's that's a blow to the entire defense, and not just D Ford, but just like the fact that I feel like the pass rush this year has not been all too great. And I feel for the success of the entire defense, the pass rush really has to be good, especially when your corners are not the best, right? So Really, I think in the Solid years, or towards the end of the Solid years here, it was all about pass rush, and that made it easier for the corners. And so now it's like, I've been impressed with, what he's been able to do despite the injuries. So
yeah, I had my doubts. I mean, I think I just like Saleh so much as a defensive coordinator that I was like, losing one of the best is going to be a big blow. But, I haven't noticed anything too alarming or anything like that. And we saw what he did with the linebackers before. So I think you guys are in good hands.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was excited about D'Amico, and I'm curious if he had any kind of, say in that trade with Herminihue, because it definitely makes sense now that, D Ford is going to IR. But one thing I'm excited about is we do got reinforcements on the way. You got Jordan Willis coming back, which is good. I mean, he led the team in sacks in the offseason. He was definitely a good solid dude for us. And then, you obviously got a Menahue, who I thought it was a stud coming out of the draft. And I think that maybe he didn't mesh well with Easterby down there in Houston, but he got a couple of healthy scratches. So I'm glad he got his out. But one question I did have is, at the trade deadline, we're waiting for, we know we were going to be sellers, we were going to be buyers. Is there a trade that you would have liked to have seen for the Niners to do?
If they made a trade, I would have liked if they explored a corner trade. I'm okay with them getting a pass rusher because, like I said, I feel like that's something that, they still needed more of. But yeah, I would have traded for the corner, or at least explored it, which maybe they did. We don't know, but yeah.
Corners are valuable. Everyone needs them out there right now.
The 49ers don't feel the same, I feel like.
Was there somebody in mind that you wanted to go after?
I mean, I feel like the Broncos had a few corners that might have been up for grabs. I don't know though. Maybe they have Kyle Fuller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fuller. Yeah, they had Fuller. I know that was a big one, but I think if we were to trade for him, I forget how much the contract we would have to take on as far as money wise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually how conversations fall apart when it comes to the money aspect. So
I mean, you saw what happened to Odell. I mean, they made it hard for him to choose what kind of team he goes for. So we'll see when it comes to Monday.
How do you feel about Odell?
I have mixed feelings about it. I feel like if you asked me, so in 2019, remember when he walked up to Jimmy and Lynch and he whispered something in their ear? I think that was 2019. He did that.
Yeah.
And so I was all for it then, right? But after seeing what happened in Cleveland, and it's honestly more of the same with him. And so I have this, I just feel like he's drama. And I know the team has never been about drama. Kyle Shanahan hates drama from players, or I don't know, one player feeling like they're bigger than the team, right? And so I feel like Odell's one of those players. And I mean, but at the same time, they've also said really good things about him. And so I feel like they would go after him, in which case, if they did and they got him, then, yeah, sure. If I'd feel better about it if it was more than just the rental,
Yeah.
So I guess if he becomes a free agent and they're able to sign him to I don't know, a 2-year deal, then sure.
I know.
But I think he's a little overrated for what he gets you these days. He's hurt a lot.
Yep.
And that's something people seem to forget, when they're clamoring all over him. But I don't know. I don't know if he'd be worth it or worth the trouble.
I know we talked about it a little bit last night, G, but I think we both agree with you on the Odell thing. Just a little overrated, hurt a lot, things like that. I know money's, of course, always the main thing when it comes to getting new guys. But I was saying I would much rather have Allen Robinson any day. Free agent next year.
Yeah.
He's been with really bad teams and it's like he's the type of guy to me that seems like he would be in the win now mode. Just be like, get me on a winning team.
Exactly.
Let's get in a good, let me get a good coach. Yeah. He's reliable,
Yeah.
shows up every day, very quarterback friendly. It's like I would take a shot on Allen Robinson over him any day.
I'm actually surprised that the Bears didn't try to trade him.
They should have.
They're not using him.
Yeah,
like,
and he doesn't want to
he's
be
just
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
And
he's only like 27, I think.
he's young.
He's 28 in 13 days, so just had a birthday. But yeah, he's young dude.
I wanted him before the Bears re-signed him.
Yeah.
They got him on a franchise tag right now.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think they'll do it to him twice. So he'll be a free agent coming up next year.
But right now, the state of the 49ers, I don't know if he would want to come here if he had got to handpick his team, which I think he's going to be able to. Like, you know, he's going to go to a good team.
Yeah.
I think. And I don't think that's the 49ers right now. It's crazy because when Shanahan first got here, a lot of players wanted to come here. Now I don't know if they have that same allure. Although the fact that, like, if you name Trey Lance your starter for next year, then all of a sudden that changes and it becomes an interesting place for free agents. I feel like we'll see what happens.
I think offensive linemen, running backs would love to be there. Wide receivers, they kind of take the back seat a little bit, but anything that has to do with the running game, if you like that, then the Niners are the place to be for sure. Gee, I only got one more question.
Have at it.
All right. The last one I have, of course, it's Trey Lance versus Jimmy G. Are you ready for Trey Lance to come in and take over for the rest of the year?
I am. I mean, I've been ready. I get, like, they snapped their losing streak, so I get why I guess they're gonna stick with Jimmy, but like I don't know. I don't know what they're seeing in practice, right? Like, but I know from what we've seen in games, we saw Trey Lance, he didn't look bad. I mean, I feel like Kyle Shanahan could have he was running a lot, which I would have, you know, liked if he did a little bit less of, but you know, he's exciting. Like, he's just more exciting to watch, even if he makes his mistakes. You know, he's just knowing he's the future, knowing he can run and he can extend plays.
100%. Yeah.
I want to see him ASAP.
Yeah, I think the issues too that are popping up, it takes reps to get through all this stuff. So as many reps as you can get him, I say get him to him.
Yeah.
Right. And if you know. Sorry, if you know that he's going to be the starter next year and you know that reps is what he needs to improve, why not have him get those reps this year where he can make his mistakes, and then next year, like, we hit the ground running. You know what I mean? That's
I agree. Coaches, though, when you still have a chance to sneak into the playoffs, especially with the 17th game,
they're going to hold on to whatever chance they have. Like 40% chance we have a chance.
So,
it feels like Shanahan's play calling and his moves and whatnot. I feel like everything's like his job's on the line. Like, that's how he's playing. Then, like, it's like, dude, like, you're fine. Just play how you want to play.
Yeah.
I think he's got a couple more years for sure. They got to see how Trey Lance turns out. But
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. That's it for me, G. You got anything else?
No, that's it for me so much. Thanks again for your time, Steph. If you want to go ahead and shout out any projects you're working on, where people can find you again, you know, here's your time, man. Hype yourself up.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, our YouTube is Stragosaurus, STRAGOsaurus. We have all our podcast lives. We do them usually every Monday around 4 p.m. Actually, when does this come out?
It'll come out Tuesday.
Okay. So then I won't. Okay. So our episode with Grant is on Monday. So, but if you're listening, if you're listening to this, we had a interview with Grant. So go ahead and check that out on our YouTube. Also, we're on Spotify, Apple, 49 Carats podcast. But yeah, man. And yeah, thanks to you guys for having me on. This has been really fun. Always nice to chat with other 49er fans. Cowboy fan, I'll tolerate you.
I'm the mediator. I'm the mediator on this one.
Oh,
No, we're really thanks for having me on.
Of course. Thanks for joining us.
yeah, if you guys go ahead and look at Durant's background right now, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at WhyWe'reFans. Yeah, you can subscribe to them as well. I mean, I definitely am, and you're as host. You guys had I forget her name. Martin is her last name.
Kiana Martin. Yeah.
Kiana. Okay, I was gonna call her something different. I'm glad I got that right pronunciation. But yeah, that was a good interview. I mean, definitely, so go check out their
She was
stuff.
really cool.
It's a good podcast. Shout out to Angie. And yeah.
You got it.
Right on.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Till next time. Later.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.